All right, another woo-woo topic to explore with plants and humans. So, yeah, a topic to delve into is the symbiotic relationship between the farmer and the cultivator and the actual plants that are being grown. And at first impression, it may seem that the plants are just almost like objects that the farmer or cultivator is just growing, and the plant has no say in the whole relationship or anything, and the farmer is 100% in charge, and the plants just belong to that farmer. And once, and if you are farming though, and I'm now talking about small scale farming, so sort of either hobby, small personal farming, or smaller regenerative style farming and cultivation. And when you do that type of farming, you start realizing when you're the farmer yourself taking care of the plants, you're like, man, who's actually in charge here? You start realizing that as a farmer, you're actually building the ultimate soil, like the healthiest soil, almost creating a spa for your plants to thrive in. You're protecting the plants from bugs and animals and things that might destroy the plant, and you're also most times when you're doing traditional seed creation for the next generation, you're actually stewarding and continuing to help continue the genetics, the genes of that plant. So you're now basically fostering and nurturing an expansion of that plant's genetics and providing a really beautiful, cushy lifestyle for that plant. And you're actually the human, the farmer, is actually toiling away in the sun, digging holes and working really hard to pamper and nurture these plants. So you start realizing, yeah, it's hard to tell who's actually in charge, and then eventually you realize no one's in charge. It's actually a symbiotic, balanced relationship, because the cultivator or the farmer is willing to take care of the plants to make sure they get everything they want, and then the plant in return will produce whatever the crop is in the highest vibration, highest vibrancy, super healthy, nourishing, whatever the crop is, whether it be fruits, vegetables, greens, medicine plants. Yeah, it's going to be at a higher, again, I'm talking woo-woo terms here, but a higher vibration, higher energy. And we've all experienced this. We know the difference between a homegrown tomato and a store-bought tomato. You can just tell. You can feel there's a taste quality, there's a vibration, there's just something that there's a higher vibrance, especially when you pick a tomato right out of your own garden and eat it, just immediately. Yeah, you can tell. It just tastes better. It feels better in your body. And that's the reward for taking care of that plant. But then the other way of looking at it is when that symbiotic relationship gets out of balance, where the farmer is now an industrial factory farmer and the plant is nothing more than just an object, almost a slave within the farmer's matrix that is just designed to exploit and extract maximum yield at to the detriment of that plant. So and a lot of times not even increasing or diversifying or spreading genetics. A lot of times when things are grown from clones or asexually, The plant's not even getting the benefit of creating more genetic diversity or continuing its genetic lines. And then also the plant a lot of times is, packed together in a matrix factory industrial setting, which is not, the happiest place for a plant. They're doused with chemicals. They're fed crappy low-grade nutrients, just enough to get the plant to survive and to the finish line, but not really, it's like being fed just vitamin on a drip or something like that instead of actually being fed healthy food. So it's just a very exploitative, almost abusive enslavement relationship that the farmer has with the plants. And then what happens, we've all tasted industrial factory farm grown tomatoes or plants, and they taste like crap. There's no life to them. There's no vibrance. There's no energy going on there, or woo-woo. There's no vibration. It's just like the dead, inert tomato. Yeah, it's a tomato, but pretty much all the life is gone from it. So there definitely seems to be some sort of symbiotic relationship between farmer and plants, and when it's a balanced, where it's a mutually beneficial, where the plant is getting well taken care of and fed well, and its genetics are actually being continued and being able to continue on and to continue to diversify into the future, like this continuum of genetic expression and evolution. The farmer and whoever experiences that plant later on at harvest time is rewarded with a very high vibration, vibrant, energetic, healthy plant that then they can take into their body and nourish themselves with. And it seems, myself doing this for quite some time, definitely not trying to project my own experience, but and others have come to the same conclusion that farming, when done in a mindful way, is a symbiotic relationship with the plants. There seems to almost be a plant consciousness. You can tell happy plants compared to enslaved, oppressed, exploited, extracted plants. And but then the farmer is rewarded with a happier harvest, a higher quality harvest, and then also the peace of mind and just basically good vibes. So so these are some of the concepts that we'd like to continue to explore and discuss, and we'll be doing with our Jade Grove Farm and Wellness Center, where we're proudly embracing and exploring the woo-woo, but pragmatic woo-wooism is where you actually see just very logical conclusions. By embracing the woo-woo, it seems to actually make sense. It's a logical, smart way to be. Everything about it seems to be beneficial to embracing the woo-woo. Anyways, and by the way, some people have also mentioned, but your plants at the end, you're actually exploiting them, because then you're gonna harvest them and eat them and kill them at the end of the harvest. But the interesting thing is actually a lot of these plants are annual plants. So they're designed, even if they're out in nature, if they went feral and wild and such, they only last for one season anyway. So it's their entire life cycle starts, and then they create seed, and then that's it, they're gone. It's like a mother spider, you know, who does her spider thing, then has her babies, and then just basically just dies there. And then, you know, it's actually kind of a beautiful but kind of macabre thing is then the babies then devour the mom as the last gift of nourishment, as the you know, the mother spider dies. So in a way, that's kind of how annual plants are. Is yeah, they only have one season to live. They give everything they can, and then at harvest time, that's when they are going to die anyway. So it's kind of like they fulfilled their whole life cycle. Anyway, at least I like to think so. So anyway, those are some concepts to contemplate, and things that will get out there and kind of trippy and woo-woo. Jade Grove. All right. Peace.